China hits back. If US wants war, we are ready. China has emphasized its ability to protect its sovereignty and regional interests while stating that it is prepared to face any potential confrontation in reaction to the escalating tensions with the US. In this video, we will highlight the key aspects of China's position. Number 7. Firm retaliation against US pressure. The US has used trade sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and military alliances to influence China's policies, especially in the areas of human rights, regional security, and economic practices. And Chinese leaders, including Foreign Minister Wang Yi, have consistently stated that any such attempts will be met with strong retaliation. For China, the US's two-faced approach, appearing to engage diplomatically while simultaneously using coercive tactics, is deeply problematic. China has responded to US pressure in an unambiguous manner, stating that it will not passively accept actions that undermine its sovereignty or national interests. Any action taken by the United States to undermine China's leadership's determination to defend what it considers to be its vital interests will not go unanswered. The Chinese leadership sees these demands as a breach of its legitimate position on the international scene rather than as helpful criticism. Given this, China's language implies that it is ready to retaliate against US acts by using its diplomatic channels, economic clout, and if need, military might. Number 6. Nuclear deterrence. China's policy of nuclear deterrence, which has been a crucial component of its defense strategy, essentially defines its attitude to nuclear weapons. General Zhu Chenghu made contentious remarks in 2005 when he claimed that if the United States invaded Chinese land, including its military installations, China would retaliate with nuclear weapons. Despite being expressed in a particular historical period, this comment highlights a more general idea. China sees its nuclear arsenal as an essential deterrent. The message was unmistakable: any military assault on China by a foreign power could result in a disastrous reaction. Despite its no-first-use policy for nuclear weapons, Zhu and other military officials' remarks imply that China would not think twice about using its nuclear weapons if forced into a tight spot. Since China's nuclear deterrence strategy seeks to thwart any attempt to subvert its expanding influence and power, this viewpoint also contributes to larger regional security concerns. China, on the other hand, promotes nuclear disarmament internationally, stressing that nuclear weapons should never be used as a first strike, but rather as a deterrent. Number 5. Rejection of US tariffs linked to non-trade issues. Rising tensions have characterized the US-China trade war, with the US placing tariffs on Chinese goods for a variety of reasons, including market access, intellectual property theft, and, more lately, worries over China's involvement in the manufacture and sale of fentanyl. China has been under fire from the United States for allegedly failing to stop the production of fentanyl, which has led to claims that it is partially to blame for the country's opioid crisis. China has strongly refuted these allegations in return, claiming that it has made important measures to regulate the illegal fentanyl trade. Beijing believes it is unfair and unwise for the United States to tie trade concerns to non-trade issues like drug trafficking. In China's opinion, such measures not only politicize economic relations, but also impede efforts to settle complicated international challenges. Furthermore, China feels that US sanctions targeting specific companies or persons based on these issues are wrong and ineffective, as they fail to address the core causes of the problem and instead increase economic tensions. China has advocated for a more reasonable and balanced approach to economic ties that emphasizes mutual benefit rather than unilateral pressure, while the United States has done so by portraying the tariffs as part of a larger effort to assert control over Chinese policy. Number 4. Opposition to military alliances in the Asia-Pacific. The United States, which has aimed to fortify its ties with regional powers like Japan, South Korea, and Australia, has resisted China's expanding influence in the Asia-Pacific area. China is extremely suspicious of the AUKUS alliance, which was formed between the United States, the United Kingdom, and Australia. China views AUKUS as an effort to surround and constrain it, especially with regard to the sharing of sensitive nuclear technologies for submarine building and increased military cooperation. China views this as a destabilizing event that could lead to an arms race in the area and jeopardize peace and stability initiatives. Chinese leaders contend that, especially in disputed regions like the South China Sea, These military partnerships directly threaten Chinese sovereignty. Beijing's objection stems from its belief that American military partnerships in the area are an attempt to preserve American dominance in Asia as a whole, in addition to restraining China's ascent. China has advocated for peaceful settlements of territorial issues through negotiation rather than military escalation, and has called for the region to stay free from outside military intervention. Number 3. Commitment to economic growth despite U.S. tariffs. Despite the economic slowdowns brought on by international events such as the COVID-19 epidemic and the demands of U.S. tariffs, China has remained resolute in its pursuit of long-term economic growth. The Chinese government's emphasis on economic stability and resilience is demonstrated by its explicit goal of sustaining a 5% GDP growth rate by 2025. This ambitious aim reflects China's gradual transformation towards a consumer-driven economy, with less reliance on external trade and greater emphasis on domestic demand, technological innovation, and green energy projects. In an effort to establish China as a world leader in these fields, Number 2. Advocacy for resuming nuclear talks. China has continuously pushed for the restart of nuclear negotiations, especially those pertaining to Iran's nuclear program, together with Russia and Iran. China thinks that diplomatic talks are the best approach to deal with the issue, in contrast to the United States, which has mostly relied on sanctions to stop Iran's nuclear aspirations. China has backed the restoration of all parties to the historic 2015 nuclear agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, and has demanded that the United States lift its sanctions against Iran. China sees these sanctions as ineffective, arguing that they simply serve to heighten Middle East tensions and impede efforts to achieve worldwide nuclear non-proliferation. Furthermore, China's diplomatic stance demonstrates its larger support for multilateralism. Number 1. Warning against provocations in the South China Sea. China has frequently cautioned other countries, particularly the United States, against military provocations in the South China Sea, which is still one of the world's most delicate geopolitical hotspots. A sizable chunk of the South China Sea, which is strategically significant and abundant in natural resources, is claimed by China as its own. By deploying military ships and planes across disputed waters, the United States has challenged China's territorial claims through freedom of navigation operations in the area. Tensions in an already unstable area have increased as a result of Beijing's emphasis that any foreign military presence in the South China Sea is undesirable and will be resisted. These 7 tenets reflect China's unwavering position on protecting its sovereignty, rejecting American meddling in its domestic and international affairs, and making sure it is ready to react to any perceived provocations from the United States. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.